So our beliefs are foundational because we build our lives on them. They shape our thoughts, influence our decisions, and determine our actions. Most people usually think about like religious or spiritual beliefs when we talk about beliefs, but there are also beliefs we have about ourselves, others, and the world around us. Some of our beliefs are conscious and deliberate, while others are subconscious and deeply ingrained. The practice of understanding and challenging our beliefs is essential for personal growth and transformation. Whether we realize it or not, our beliefs are constantly guiding and shaping our lives. If you are in a space where what you believe is changing, then this episode is for you.
Hi, I'm Pam Williams, a mother.
And I'm Jessica E. Williams, a daughter. And this is a mother and a daughter truthful chat, where we discuss our 35-year multi-layered relationship.
We've been through so many ups and downs. Not only are we family, but we're business partners in the high-stress world of event planning and production for short films.
We've also shared the same therapist for over 10 years. What some people call codependence, we call collaboration.
So join us as we share stories from our lives,
Have candid conversations with other mother-daughter duos,
and shed light on the roller coaster ride of being a woman while raising a woman. So, welcome back to Truthful Chats. I hope it's welcome back, right? We've been doing these a while now. Truthful Chats, 20 minutes or less, designed to help us get to the point where we're operating in generational wellness. More about that in the description box below. So, each month we have a Create Generational Wellness theme for the month. And on Thursday evenings, we kind of unpack that theme a little bit, talk about it, see what we can come up with that we hope helps you. And so the theme for March is Believe. And today's episode is all about believing in the power of choice. Today we're discussing how beliefs start, how they affect you, how they shape you. And then we'll give you a few practical steps if it might be time for you to change your belief system just a little bit.
Big facts. So let's jump right into it. First off, what are beliefs? I talked about this a little bit in the intro, but they are ideas, attitudes, and opinions that we ultimately hold to be true. Mm-hmm. And where do beliefs come from? Well, that's sort of a layered question because there's a variety of places. Definitely from our childhood, our culture, our personal experiences, and our interactions with others. So what we believe is shaped by, again, the messages that we receive from these interactions from our families, from our friends, from our communities, and even from the media, particularly if you're a 90s kid like myself and you grew up in the early 2000s, you got a lot of messages about a lot of things, for the good and for the bad. They could be positive and empowering, or they could be really, really negative and limiting. And quite often, they're not really objective or based on any particular facts. It's just kind of, programming, but we'll get into that another time. Personal experience also, again, have a significant impact on your beliefs. Positive experiences reinforce your positive beliefs, while, of course, negative experiences reinforce your negative beliefs. So our beliefs are based on our interpretation of reality and our perspectives. And so, how people talk about, like, we take a filter into every situation. And so that's sort of the filter that we all carry. So sometimes we actually seek out information that confirms what we already believe, which is known as confirmation bias, if you ever have heard that term. And instead, we should be taking the time to find out if what we believe is actually really true
or not. Yeah.
Based on some sort of objective reality, not just a subjective reality.
Yep. So as Jess said in the intro, beliefs have a profound impact on our thoughts, our actions, the way we see ourselves, the way we see others, the way we see the world. It all is kind of based on our belief system. And that can either empower us or it can hold us back. If we believe that we are capable, powerful of achieving our goals, then we're more likely to take action toward them and move forward. If we believe that we are not powerful, or we've had negative experiences or had people say negative things to us, it may make us believe that maybe we're not worthy of what we're dreaming about, or we're not able to accomplish it. So, excuse me, it's really important that you listen and try and figure out, what have I been told and how is that impacting the way that I live now? Experiences from our past. We were talking about this earlier today.
Mental mind.
And I was telling Jess, believe it or not, when I was growing up, I wanted to be an architect. I just thought that was, I don't know if there was a TV show on about architects or something, but I got this dream in my mind that I wanted to be an architect. And I was a pretty good student. I got, good grades all my life, everything. And then I got to high school and I got a D in geometry. First D I ever had in my entire life. And I think I was in the probably 10th or 11th grade. I was devastated. We got tutors, we got this, we got that. Because I was like, I can't keep getting, and I got D's all the way through. First semester, second semester of the first half of the year, first semester, second semester, straight D's. And
can I just say this? I had the nicest geometry teacher, but geometry is really sort of a dumb math. Like, if you don't need it for your career path, you really shouldn't be learning. I think majority math, if it don't have to do with money, you really shouldn't know it. But
but can you imagine?
But they say people who are good at geometry aren't good at algebra. People who are algebra aren't necessarily good at geometry. So.
And it's absolutely true. But the fact that I was not good at a math that was based on spatial things made me say, architect, no way, this is not going to happen. Now, kind of backside of the story, we came to find out that our geometry teacher was deaf in one ear. That's crazy. So it was the craziest thing. But they finally found out that a lot of the questions we were asking him, he wasn't hearing the right questions. So he was giving us a different answer. But that aside, it made me decide I did not have what it took to be an architect. And so it affected, it can affect your emotions, your well-being, what you think of yourself. It can cause you anxiety and distress and discomfort. I was like stressed out. I mean, terrible. I never had a D before, right? But on the other hand, I got to college, and like Jess just said, if you're good in algebra, you're not good in geometry. So I got to college, A in algebra, A in statistics, which made me say, okay, you're not math impacted. You know what I mean? You can do
math impacted.
You actually can do math. And so that gave me the confidence I needed to go on and ultimately major in economics. Which is very math-based. So I was like, okay. But can you see how that could have impacted my whole life and where I actually wound up if I hadn't come back from that with something that changed what I was actually believing about myself.
We all have a subject that got us. It made us doubt ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a story. What about when you were in elementary school? Do you remember it or do I just remember it?
Oh, you remember it more so than I do, but I was in elementary school and I was supposed to be doing, I guess it was a Black History Month presentation.
Yeah.
In Burbank, by the way. Take from that what you will. But I had a really bad case of stage fright, and
there were two assemblies. There was like an 8:00 assembly, and then an 8:30 assembly, and then there was going to be a 10:30.
I do remember feeling very overwhelmed in general. So I just with life at that time, like we had moved from New York. Here, I was one of the only Black kids. It was a very uncomfortable time. So I just remember being super overwhelmed. So I busted out crying in the first assembly and couldn't do, I didn't do it.
She choked. And so all her teachers, I went up at the end and I was like, what happened? Blah, blah, blah. She said, I couldn't. And her teacher said, she doesn't have to do it. I said, oh, no. She has to do it.
Black mamas.
She has to do it. So I stood there and I told her, I said, I'm going to have the video camera. Don't look anywhere else in this audience. Just look at me.
You had a video camera?
I did.
I don't remember.
It's on tape. I said, just look right at me holding this camera. And so then she got up there and she did it. She did it fine. But she went on to major in theater at USC. So imagine if she had never gotten over that stage fright, who knows? She may have never ever gotten on stage again. So I'm just saying that sometimes these beliefs impact you so much that they affect the trajectory of your life, and that's not what you want to do. We're all about creating generational wellness, and so what would that have looked like had I never gotten over math and went on to study what I studied, or if she had never gotten over stage fright and went on to study what she studied? All these things are in your family dynamic, your childhood, your history, and they impact you. So it's a combination of what you choose to believe. Some of it is inherited. Some of it came from your upbringing, your culture, your experiences that happened to you, just like we were just talking about. And it shapes your belief. But at some point, I had to discover, wait, you're not bad at math. You can really do this. had to discover. I'm not afraid to be on stage. I'm an actor, you know. So you may discover that you've changed and something in you has changed. And so that ultimately means that your belief and your values have changed. And they may not necessarily line up with what you grew up with. That makes sense.
And that's not true, because ultimately the new you might not gel so well, particularly in family dynamics, where, you know, they're not vibing with your newfound beliefs or whatever you're dealing with at that particular time. And so you need to sort of identify what those differences are between you and your loved ones, because you're family. So hopefully you can have candid, open, honest conversations with your family members and try to find some common ground and approaching those situations with empathy, which means, you know, you want those people to care about what you're saying and, you know, imagine if they were in your shoes so you guys can communicate well. So hopefully you can do that for the other person. So it's not contentious. Hopefully there's respect, mutual respect. People ain't cussing each other out and screaming and throwing things. And, you know, you also want to make sure that sometimes you just got to walk away. You just got to agree to disagree. And ultimately, you know, you're making a decision to step away from belief systems that no longer serve you. But that can be kind of hard and very, very challenging. And you have to remember that this is an important step in your personal growth and your development, no matter who likes it or who does not. And you've done enough self-awareness and enough work on yourself to know that you can identify limiting beliefs that you have. And you want to put yourself in a position where you don't feel like those things are holding you back, and you're replacing those beliefs with more empowering beliefs. But here's a kicker. We were talking about this kicker, I should say. We were talking about this earlier today. Sometimes when you have those beliefs, when you're bumping up against beliefs for your own empowerment and your own sanity and safety, it makes other people uncomfortable, because maybe they tried to do it earlier in the family or in the friendship group or whatever, and people really shut them down. So to see you have the courage to step out and say, I'm going against the grain and I'll cut everybody off, and that's fine. I'm not advocating complete whatever. Do what you got to do for you. But sometimes that rubs people the wrong way, because maybe they didn't have the courage or the know-how or the skill set or those things to do it. So, you know, pioneering is tough out here.
Shall we tell our church story?
Sure, go ahead.
So this is how I think I want to tell the story, because of how it looked in my generation and then how it looks for you and your generation, because I think I learned something from my experience. So I grew up Baptist, diehard Baptist. My dad was a Baptist minister, my grandfather, my uncles, my dad's brothers, and everybody, Baptist preachers. That's what we did in my family. Well, when I got to be about 19, maybe somewhere in there, 1920, I was part of, you know, that new movie that's out now, Jesus Revolution, with, what's his name?
Greg. Is it Greg? No. Kelsey Grammer.
Jesus Revolution. So I kind of grew up as a college kid in that era. So I really,
with the hippies,
with
the Lord,
all of that and whatever. And so I kind of migrated over into being more of what they call in Black church, holy roller. You know, I decided that I felt like there was more to
just going to church
and being better. And I kept hearing about the Holy Spirit, and I didn't see that in our church except for people shouting and falling out. And I was like, well, there must be something more to this. So anyway, started to investigate, started to do my own research, made me come up with some different belief systems and values about who God was and what that looked like. And then ultimately, I stopped going to the Baptist church and I started going to the COGIC church for a minute. And then
the COGIC,
and then
that was
my favorite. I go to regular church in the morning and COGIC church at night. And then I wound up, you know, non-denominational, which was big in the 80s and all that. So totally different belief system from my family when it came to religion, and
which can be a sticky situation,
and totally broke, you know, tradition and changed belief systems and values, and it all worked out. And you know, everybody's happy.
So then I
just love Jesus.
So then I grew up very non-denominational, and I stand by that. Like I be in certain churches, like I don't know what's going on here. I'm just here for Jesus and God the Father and the Holy Spirit, and that's all I know. We'll get into these spiritual discussions anyway. But some of y'all stopped going to church in the pandemic because you couldn't get in the building. I stopped going to church in the building less and less, like 2-3 years before lockdown. So for me, it wasn't really an adjustment.
2018,
yeah, it wasn't an adjustment when they were like, I attend a church that has an incredible online ministry. So I was fine. Some people were devastated, but so my parents don't jump on me about not getting up and going out the house and forsaking the fellowship of the saints. And all the scriptures they use to bring you down sometimes. But they're like, I still love Jesus. I be watching sermons as much as I be watching any other my favorite TV shows. So I haven't abandoned the faith just because I'm not in the building. And I have a lot of friends that are like that as well. So that could have been a contentious situation. Thank God we have a great family relationship that it wasn't. But, I'm praying for y'all. Please use some of these skills and tactics we're giving you. And we about to give you some tips.
I think so. I think that's good. Like I said, conversation to show how it changed from my generation to her generation. And if you make that decision, you can help push the needle a little bit. So here's some tips that can help you. All right.
You'll write them down.
Identify the limiting beliefs that you feel are holding you back. All right. Identify them first and then kind of do a little research on them. And then in order to do this, you might have to journal some. You might have to do a lot of self-reflection. You might have to read some things. I don't know. You might have to have talks with a trusted friend who is a truth teller, not a yes person.
Yes, man. No, yes,
all right.
Man.
You need somebody that, if it's necessary, to say to you, have you really thought about that? Maybe there's this side of the coin. You need somebody in your life that can always be that person that can have you look at something a different way. Okay. And so then that way you're able to say, is my belief system supported by real evidence, or is this just in my head or whatever? But get to the bottom of what you feel your limiting beliefs are, right? Number 2, consider other points of view. You have to consider another point of view. We talked about this in a previous episode when we're talking about perspective and how you can get so entrenched in your own perspective that you can't see the opportunity for anything else. Mm-hmm. And that is not good and
problematic.
Won't help you grow and won't help you change your belief system if it is necessary. All right. This one I think is really important. Find people who believe in the process of change.
Like minds, like mentals.
Sometimes people have like a problem with the idea of change. And so they don't want to even consider it. And so they're not going to support you as you muse about what it is you might like to see differently in your life, right? So get you around some people that can think about change and think about it in a good way. Create positive affirmations that you can say, whatever that means for you. Mine personally is a euphemism, but I say that I'm going to talk myself off the ledge in the morning before I get up, because there's so much in the world that can bombard you and you start thinking about things and whatever, and you just want to crawl back into bed some days and pull the cover over and say, I don't want to deal with any of this. But you kind of have to say whatever it is you need to say. Take 15-20 minutes in the morning. Give yourself a way to like get moving, examine what you believe about today. Oh yeah, I love that. Protect your energy. All right. And then number 5, take action. Even if you feel uncertain about what you're doing, about what your belief system might be changing to, take an action. I started sneaking off going to the COGIC church because I felt like there was something a little bit different. Or, read a book, talk to, a therapist. Us, we believe in Jesus and therapy over here. And do things that will reinforce your new beliefs and your confidence. I always think about that movie Soul Food. If you have a tradition of a Sunday dinner at your family's house, and then by 7:00 every Sunday night, somebody gets mad, cuss somebody out, get whatever.
It's not healthy, by the way.
That's not healthy. It's not healthy for you. You got to start your week with all that drama, and good and well, you don't really want to go. So take actions, baby steps. Maybe you start not going every Sunday, and then go every other Sunday, and then back down to one Sunday, and then don't go.
Protect your energy.
Protect your
until
energy.
The people get together.
All right.
So we're almost at 20 minutes. We're going to go a little bit over today. It's not going to happen, hopefully, that often. But we got important things to say, okay? So we hope that this was helpful. At the end of the day, empowering yourself through your beliefs is a really, really important process, but it's also a lifelong process. So this ain't one of them things that we told y'all, and y'all should be like, well, next week I'm letting everybody have it. Like, wow, I'm putting all the emotional bullets in the clip and I'm shooting at everybody about, like, just calm down, okay? As you evolve and grow as a person, your beliefs will evolve and grow. So just, take it one day at a time. That's all we ask you.
Give yourself some grace. Give the people some grace.
Please, okay? And then don't just be focused on your beliefs. Somebody might come with some other beliefs and they want grace from you. So go ahead and do that. And approach, those, either you sharing your beliefs or other people sharing their beliefs with an open mind and a willingness to change on both sides, okay? And if y'all just like, we can't do it, that's fine. And we always have the power to challenge ourselves and transform ourselves at any point, okay? So don't be just trying to.
If you change this and then you decide, nope, that's not working either, you can
change again.
Keep the evolution going.
Because the goal here at Create Generational Wellness is that you're living your life authentically.
And
fulfilling your, purpose in your life, your destiny, if you believe in that, what you ultimately believe that you're here to do, and make yourself and the people around you better. So hope this was helpful. Gave you some things to think about. And all month, we're looking at what we believe, why we believe it. So stick around. Also check out, we're new to this, okay? But we're true to it, okay? So like, these are conversations we be having all the time. We just are now having them.
If we were sitting on that sofa behind us, we would be having these same conversations. So
this ain't just
putting you in,
putting on for the people. We bring you in. So check out February's episodes, January's episodes. If you gotta go, we understand. But happy belated International Women's Day. I don't even know if belated works here. But it's the day after, so I figure we do that. We hope it was great. We hope you celebrated the incredible women in your life, yourself, okay? All the boss women. Men, don't be hating, just appreciate. And it's also Women's History Month. So we promised you that every episode we were gonna tell you about a Black woman that's amazing that you may or may not have heard about. So if you can stick around for this, it's great. If not, watching a replay or something. So let's get into it. All right. So today is, let me get to the fullness. To the fullness. All right. This amazing Black woman is Nora Holt. She is actually the first Black woman to earn a master's degree in the United States. Big flex, okay, on that. She's also a highly influential composer, singer, and music critic. She was actually born, in that time, you just wipe your name like people be wiping their IG pages. So she's actually born Lena Douglas. She was born around 1890 in Kansas City. Shout out to Kansas City. She was actually a PK. That's a pastor's kid. We've been talking about church a lot today. So she's actually a pastor's kid. And she attended the unfortunately defunct HBCU Western University in 1917. Her dad actually taught there.
And he wrote the school song. He wrote the words to the school song, and she wrote the music to the school song.
So in 1917, that tracks because she got her bachelor's degree in music. And she earned her history making degree from the Chicago Musical College. It sounds fancy, doesn't it? And this is crazy to me. Sometimes in school we be not having the right priorities. But this woman somehow managed to get this master's degree and be married 3 different times whilst getting her degree. So she stayed on track despite holistically changing husbands 3 times. She started her writing career in 1917 when she was hired by the Chicago Defender, and she penned a lot of articles about advocating for Black musicians because, of course, people were stealing our songs, writing them, not giving us credit. Black musicians didn't really have a lot of protection, so she was doing that. And in 1919, she co-founded actually the National Association of Negro Musicians. Now, this is interesting. The Shade Room did not exist at that time, but gossip was still going around irregardlessly. She would have been in the, she would have been on the Shade Room because she was a socialite and she had gentleman collars and things. And yeah, man, she was in the gossip columns a lot. And then she actually ended up marrying a wealthy Chicago hotel owner named George Holt. And she changed her name. I told you she'd just be changing the things up to Nora Holt. And unfortunately, he died shortly into their marriage. But this was advantageous for her because she got to the bag, to the money, to the yams.
times.
So she inherited this man's fortune, and she traveled the world.
But she was really active in the Harlem Renaissance too, with all that money. So you know how they were getting down.
Everybody needs a sponsor and a benefactor. She also had various lovers. We're not here to get into her business, but she did. And she wrote 200. She composed 200 original works. So she was getting to the bag on her own too. Okay. And then she actually ended up having we had 3 husbands in college. George, she had a 5th marriage. We don't know who that was to, but Google her. And it dissolved. And she resettled
his name was Ray, something James or something.
She resettled in Los Angeles as a music teacher. And then she actually returned to New York, and she was Amsterdam News' first music critic. And in 1945, she became the first Black member of the Music Critics Circle of New York and worked as a producer and director for the Concert Showcase radio show on WLIB. And she died in 1974 in LA. That's a long life. So just, go ahead and Google this Black woman and find out more about her, man, because we got to celebrate people who did amazing things, not just always.
I love her story.
Listen, Pam always want to be the person out here living that rich life. Okay,
I love her story. She's like, all my favorite things: the Harlem Renaissance,
yachting,
a lot of money, traveling all over Europe,
various gentlemen callers.
Amen.
So thank y'all so much for sticking around. I know we were a little. It's not hard. But again, it's time for us. We're gonna bid you adieu. Yeah, it was good, and it's important information. We hope we helped you. Okay, and so have you helped us? Have you subscribed? Have you followed on IG? Have you liked us on Facebook? We are Create Generational Wellness on all platforms. So with that, we hope that you have a great night. We'll see you next week for another episode in the Believe. Shout out to all the kids who know When You Believe by Whitney and Mariah from the Prince of Egypt. That's for all the 98 kids. Anyway, y'all have a great night, and we'll see you next time.
Love y'all. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.